Hi, I'm Linda Eastburn, and this is Intuitive Journeys. I'm training a team of intuitive remote viewers, and we are on the hunt. We're stealth detectives using only the power of our minds to get real-life answers. Well, intuition hasn't always had the best reputation, from the days of gypsy caravans doing fortune-telling all the way through to any kind of witches or witchcraft. I mean, a lot of people have some really negative views of that. But I can say that it is very useful and has been used by intelligent people in business. So it has been used in lots of ways that are very, very legitimate because it has some validity. It's not 100% accurate. We have to really, really look at that. We're going to do a business session today, and as we do this business session, of course, we have to make it clear to the business owner that we don't know what parts of this session are actually real and what part is not. So they have to evaluate it with their own discretion. Here's what the team got for the intuitive remote viewing session for a business. Dylan, why don't we start with you? What's your summary of the business here?
I think it needs to be open and colorful, and the ambience and the activity, it needs to be high energy. And I think he's got a good vision. I feel like he knows what he needs to do, but he's second guessing, and he's he needs to stay true to his vision of what he's got going on here. But definitely a colorful, open, active space is going to drive his clientele. If they're comfortable, if they feel like he's sold on it, they're going to be sold on it, and he's going to be successful. I think he's a big key, and the space itself, is going to be a key.
Okay, keep that in mind for when we look at mine, and then when we come back here and talk to him too.
Okay. I feel like the business is a good concept and has a good business model, but there's a couple of problems. One, there is a money leak somewhere. Now, I don't know if that is a person that is embezzling or if there is an unneeded expenditure, but there is money leaking out of the business.
Okay.
And there are some customer service issues. The employees, there's a few dissatisfied employees, and they aren't being very friendly and welcoming to the customers, and that's creating some problems. And I do feel like there are some things that are being hidden from the owner, like perhaps from the managers or something. Like there's some key issues that he needs to know that are being hidden from him.
Okay. Mark?
Okay, you already said him, so it's obviously a man. Mm-hmm. Here's what I got. The father is in some kind of an alternative healing business. He has a child, I feel like it's a son, who is in a very quantified business like computers or accounting. Here's the thing, the father is wanting the son to there's something going on with the father. He wants to retire, he's going to pass away. He wants the son in his heart to continue it. Failing that, find a successor, because he's a big believer in his alternative healing. But it's very incongruous with the son who's in something quantified like computers. They're close together. They might even be in the same complex, and I think the family owns the office complex even.
That's a novel.
Yes.
That's just what I got and went with it, so it probably missed by a country mile.
I think he's a solo person, and I don't think he has an actual physical location. The name of his business is called Instrumental Furnishings. He makes furnishings out of refurbished instruments.
Ah.
It's a very niche, very colorful.
Yeah.
Very colorful, a very niche kind of thing. So now knowing this, have at it and see if you come up with anything else. Mark, what did you get to clarify what you already did?
Well, he's in what I call a hobby business. It's something he thinks is great. doesn't mean everybody else does. And just because you can make a great violin chair doesn't mean you know anything about running a business, number one. So I'd say the first thing he needs to do is get real. Is this a viable business, period? Are there enough people out there who would buy this sort of thing to support it?
I had a similar thing to find that right place to market his products. If he's just going out into the general public, that wouldn't do as much good as finding the niche.
I feel like, again, he's the cog. He is the business. So his attitude is tantamount to what happens with the business. But I think we're looking at individual items that have a real niche, like you said. He needs to go beyond that. If you're going to have that really cool wine rack, it needs to be against a wall like this. You need moving pictures moving into the scene. He needs to create the whole scene, the whole ambience, like I was saying a while ago, so that when I'm looking at that, I'm, oh, you know, that would fit so perfectly in my room. I don't want to have to do the legwork of thinking what I would do with that product. Mm-hmm. I want him to sell me on where I need that product.
You know, when I do an intuitive session, I go into a fairly deep meditative state. So my eyes are closed. I connect tightly with whatever target it is that I'm reviewing. And it enables me to have a really very intricate and intimate connection with whatever it is that I'm scanning. That's what I did for Terry's business. The only information I had as well was Terry's name and the name of the business. So here are parts of the session. You see that there's a difference here between kind of the business person and the artist. And I do believe that that divides itself between two people rather than for it to just be Terry, because I do see him to be the artist. I do see him to be good, however, at some of the marketing of it. At times he does become so distracted that he fails to utilize or remember that his place in this endeavor is to continuously work upon new structure, new ideas, new placement of these products. We see that even though he can produce some very original and unique items, we see that he often does not have an outlet for them prior to their production. We see that one of the ways that this business could be more profitable would be to have some form of a contractual agreement to produce a certain type of piece of which he could put together some form of protocol in advance and be able to produce something very unique for a wealthier crowd than the one that he's often selling to at this particular point in time. We do see that also this one makes something that could be construed as furnishings, but it could also be construed as art. And we see that if he were to look at his productions as something that's more of an art, we do see that it could move in different circles as well. We see that it could become a gallery piece, and we do see that these particular types of furnishings that we're talking about could become very capable of being viewed strictly as an artistic purchase rather than something that's functional as a furnishing. Would suggest the change potentially of the name of the products or the business, because we do see that it does loop it into or lock it into a kind of niche of something that is not as appealing perhaps as something that would be more of an artistic nature. He does need to begin to look at the same types of instruments and see new ways that he can begin to refurbish their usefulness within the furnishings that he creates or the artistic pieces that he creates, and would highly recommend that he begin viewing them as artistic pieces, because we see that by doing that it becomes there again a completely different mindset for him and a completely different way that he would market this. He has not yet perhaps moved into a level of ownership of this in a way that will enable him to become acquainted with a greater clientele, that he can begin to own the value of his pieces of art in a way that will direct him to have a different type of conversation with people as he begins to try to market these. We see that internally, he just appreciates his artistic ability rather than to see himself as a business person that could potentially become more than what he has already accomplished with this. And we do see that is quite all right if he does not choose to do anything more with this, but we do see on a business perspective that it certainly has more potential and more of a grander scale or a grander outlet. Check in with the next episode to find out what Terry thinks of our business scan of his business, Instrumental Furnishings. Next episode, the team will look at a haunted house. They don't know it's haunted, however. Only I know the true story behind the house. If you like the show, like, share, and subscribe. See you next time.